Hey everyone, it's Rachel and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk with you guys about morning sickness. I'm currently 26 weeks pregnant with our first baby, and I found morning sickness to be really hard. I know some women either don't get it or they find it to be really easy. Mine was pretty rough for about 3 weeks, and it was even harder because we hadn't announced the pregnancy yet, so trying to keep it a secret while I was feeling so gross and so sick and so not myself, it was challenging. You're looking forward to enjoying experiencing this baby grow inside of you and looking forward to the future when you finally get to meet them. And you feel like morning sickness is stealing a little bit of that excitement because you're just not feeling yourself. So I wanted to share with you guys 10 tips I picked up on how to handle morning sickness and make it just a little bit easier to get through. But before we get into it, I just want to put out a bit of a disclaimer, and that is that every pregnancy is different and no two people experience morning sickness the same. These tips worked great for me and they really helped, but I can't guarantee that they are going to necessarily work really well for you. You're going to have to go through some trial and error and figure out what really works for you and what helps you get through your morning sickness the most. I also want to mention something you may or may not have heard before, and that is that morning sickness doesn't actually just come in the morning. I actually had most of mine through the late afternoon and evening, so it's something you kind of have to be ready for at any time of the day, unfortunately. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. Tip number 1 is to try switching your prenatal. When you become pregnant, your doctor will recommend you start a prenatal if you haven't started one already, to make sure you're getting enough folic acid and all those vitamins and everything you need to keep you and your baby healthy. I went to Costco and just got a bottle of prenatal pills there, started taking them, but I found at about 8 weeks that my nausea was actually worse after taking my prenatal. I looked into it a little bit and found out that this is actually common. So I switched to a gummy or chewable prenatal. I just picked mine up from the grocery store. It's got a nice citrus flavor and it really helped me get through my morning sickness. It brought my nausea down so much. Tip number 2 is to take lemon or ginger. Ginger is probably one of the most common methods to help women get through morning sickness. You can just buy ginger tea from the store, or you can even get the ginger root, cut it up into small slices and put it in hot water and drink it that way. Something I did occasionally when I was at home and not feeling well was taking ginger ale. It really helps calm down your stomach. Probably not as healthy of an option, but it works. There was one time I was at my in-laws for dinner and I was really struggling getting through the meal, and my mother-in-law gave me a glass of water with lemon squeezed into it, and that really helped settle my stomach. It made me stop feeling like I was gonna have to run to the bathroom at any moment. It did really help. Tip number 3 is to eat smaller meals and more often. This is something my doctor recommended to me when I went in for my confirmation. He said if you're having trouble with morning sickness, you can try not eating 3 big meals a day, but splitting it up into smaller meals and eating more regularly throughout the day. And I found that when my stomach was empty, I was more likely to become more nauseous. So snacking a lot, eating smaller meals, but a lot more often can really help you get through your morning sickness. Tip number 4 is to avoid too much spice. My husband loves seasoning his meat, and I found that when I was going through morning sickness, this was actually a problem for me. I could not handle the smell. I would have to leave the room. There were some times where we actually had to eat separately. So if you're someone who loves their spice, you may find that you have to cut down on this a bit while you're going through your morning sickness to ease the nausea. Tip number 5 is to avoid strong scents. This kind of goes along with tip number 4, but your nose is just so much more sensitive to smells than usual, and it can really trigger your morning sickness. So if you're in a room with a lot of strong scents like candles, or someone's wearing a lot of perfume, or going into somewhere like Bath and Body Works, it can really trigger your nausea with all those smells coming at you. So you may find that you need to avoid going into places where there are a lot of scents, or avoiding using too many scented products in your home. If you are needing to use a scented product, but you are finding it's triggering your nausea, you can always open up a window, get some fresh air in, and that'll help lessen the smell and ease your nausea a bit. Tip number 6 is to find your food triggers. Every woman will have a different food that triggers their nausea. For me, it was raspberries, pizza, rice, and meat. I didn't have to cut out all of these things completely, but I did have to limit how much of them I had. If you're finding you're consistently struggling with a certain food type, you might have to consider either cutting it out completely or just lessening it. And remember that everyone is different. A food that another woman struggled with, or one of the foods that I struggled with, may not be a problem for you at all. So really focus on just finding what works and what doesn't work for you. Tip number 7 is to eat slowly. I found that if I was eating too fast, it really made it so much harder to get through the meal. It felt like my stomach was getting blocked up and everything just needed to come up. So really take your time if you need to and slow down. There were some times when we were out for dinner with other people and it would take me like 20 minutes to half an hour to finish a meal because I just couldn't go faster than that. And it was a little bit awkward because everyone else is done and you feel like they're just waiting for you and it can be uncomfortable. But don't worry, if that's what you need to do, then take your time. Everyone will understand. Tip number 8 is to have a hair tie handy. This is really helpful for when you really feel like you need to run to the bathroom. You do not want to have to deal with getting your hair in the toilet because that's just gross and not fun. I would either have a hair tie on my wrist while I was eating or nearby the toilet where I could just grab it quickly, or sometimes I would even just put my hair up and eat with it up if I felt like I was really struggling through the meal. It just makes life that much easier. Tip number 9 is to keep a plastic bag in your purse. I had so much anxiety going out in public when I was going through morning sickness because I was so worried about what if there isn't a bathroom available? What if I can't get there in time? I had a plastic bag, I put it in my purse, and I left it there for pretty much the entire first trimester for just in case, and it made me so much more comfortable being out in public. Tip number 10 is to have a bucket by your bed. This isn't really necessary, but I found it really helpful for me because our bathroom and our bedroom in our house are on opposite side. And I did not want to have to worry about being in the bedroom and not making it into the bathroom in time and making a mess all over the floor. So I just had a plastic bucket from, I think, the dollar store, put it on my bedside table and had it there for if I was feeling really queasy and didn't think I would make it to the bathroom in time. It saved me a lot of stress. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. And let me know in the comments below, how did you handle your morning sickness? Or did you get any morning sickness at all? If you're interested in seeing more videos like these, be sure to subscribe and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.